Name drop. Can we do our very first name drop with the lovely Miss Nikki DeLoach?
Oh, I like that. What is a girl from Waycross, Georgia doing in Los Angeles?
That is a great question. I have no idea. Maybe it's pure luck.
No.
But you started. I mean, obviously, you were born in Georgia.
Yeah.
To your mom and dad.
Yes.
And they're very famous in Georgia.
They are very.
If you go anywhere in Georgia, you see DeLoach Highway, DeLoach everything.
That's your family?
I mean nothing. I mean nothing in South Georgia, but my family. Everyone knows them.
Mm-hmm.
They're the famous
Did you
ones.
have to change your accent? Because isn't South Georgia more of a drawl?
I did. Oh, yeah. But it comes back if I drink, if I'm tired, if I'm
If you
angry,
go home for a minute.
if I talk to my mom, if I go home for a second, it comes back super fast. But yeah, I had to drop it. I went to New York when I was 11. I won a talent competition that gave me the summer in New York. And I had to drop my accent, and I started, auditioning a lot in New York. I did a lot of print, commercial.
At 11?
Wow.
Yeah. No, who went with you? Mom, dad?
At that moment in time, it was my mom.
We got a name dropper. What's her name?
Terry DeLoach.
There we go. And dad?
My dad, David DeLoach.
David DeLoach.
He dropped us off. He drove us up there in a van. And like one of those old school vans that had the VHS thing. And you could watch the movies in the back.
Wow, you had some money. We got a VHS.
Wait, was it a Chevy van? Like with the shag carpet? And
it's not that creepy.
I don't remember if it was a Chevy, or not, but it was like, yes, that carpeted.
Yeah.
And we actually didn't have money.
Had a wet bar?
Yeah, I wish.
A butler.
My mother would just like give me medication and knock me out in the back of the van, so I wouldn't.
And this is a time where that's still kind of cool.
It was still okay. I was like, just give her some drugs.
Your mom still with us?
Yes, my mom is.
So you just put her on blast?
Not. Yeah. Oh yeah, I put my mom on blast all the time. She's used to it. But yeah, my dad dropped us off. It was the first time I ever saw my dad cry.
Aw.
And then he drove back to Blackshear, which is actually where I'm from, even though I was born in Waycross. And then came back and picked us up actually we flew home like months and months later at the end of the summer. But normally my grandmother traveled with me. That was the first time my mother traveled with me to work.
Was that really like kind of the last time that you spent like your pre-adolescent years in Georgia?
I left home at 12 for Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah.
Wow, so that's incredible. In Orlando.
Mickey Mouse gets a big little name drop. So
Always.
The whole theme of the show is name drop.
Right.
What we want is stories about celebrities. Anybody. It could be
your parents.
It could be friends. Anytime a name gets dropped, we're going to ding the bell.
High school gym teacher.
I know you've got some great names to drop, starting with the Mickey Mouse Club.
Well, I was just thinking, it's so funny because...
Can you name all the Mouseketeers that you were on with?
Oh, I can name a lot.
I can probably name all the Mouseketeers.
So you had Justin?
Should we go back and forth?
So I came in... So actually, it was...
You were one of the new kids.
I was one of
We're putting a lot of pressure on her.
But no,
slow down.
Name drop whole thing, I was like, I know nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Like... I live in, I guess because I've been in the industry for so long, it doesn't feel like I do this business. And also a lot of my friends they're not really known people. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't really know anybody. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I've been doing this for a really long time. I started on a show. I was one of the new Mouseketeers with Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling,
Go ahead.
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera,
Carrie Russell, Dale
Godboldo, Tony Luca. JC.
Oh yeah,
wait, JC.
JC Chazé.
Chazé, okay.
Which a lot of people still to this day refer to him as JC Chavez.
Or JC.
I still hear people
always
Chase says.
Chases.
You're having that Chase says boy on.
Now this was an amazing time for you, right? Because the weird thing is to drop these names like we're dropping them right now.
Yeah.
But at the time,
none of us were.
You guys were just kids doing stupid things like hanging out, and then suddenly looking back on it, what an iconic moment. Like there's going to be movies. There's going to be tons of movies
but you
about
all did
this little time.
You all did something. I mean, think about all those names. Everyone's doing something.
Everyone, and to be perfectly honest, I have to give it up to Matt Costello, Casella, not Costella, sorry, Casella. He was the casting director, and he's so, like, now knowing what I know in terms of like what a gift casting is, you know, it is a specific skill set, and he was so brilliant at it. And the thing was, for the Mickey Mouse Club in general, like, I remember we did the casting camp, which also Jessica Simpson was at.
Oh, that's right.
They were not just looking for kids with a lot of talent, because, like, obviously Christina opened her mouth, and I thought there was a boombox inside of her. I could not believe that was coming out of an 11-year-old child. Yeah. It was crazy. And so you look at that and you're like, how do they not cast Christina? Obviously. But the thing that I had heard, because there was a lot of us that could sing and a lot of us that could dance, but the way that I got in was I connected everyone. Like, I was kind of like the one that made sure nobody was left out.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody's
best friend.
Yeah. So the second day we were at casting camp, and Justin and I became friends instantly. It was like, I knew him my whole life. He knew me his whole life. Our parents just instantly connected. And so it was, ironically, like, me and Justin and Brittany that just kind of really connected out of the gate. And Christina would sit by herself at the lunch table. She was just by herself. She was very, very quiet.
Well, she thought she was better than you?
She was quiet when she wasn't singing.
She had, I mean, and she's
no,
been
I'm joking
open about it. Yeah. Yeah. But by the way, yes.
She was she was a snob, right?
She had security around
She's
her.
like, yeah,
already.
Velvet rope.
Watching her blossom was actually a really cool thing, because watching her go from this quiet, you know, she was maybe 80 pounds dripping wet at the
with
casting
70
camp.
pounds of weights on.
Right. With big, thick glasses, you know, and super, super, super quiet, never really spoke to anyone, sat by herself. And then at lunch, I went up to her and said, hey, do you want to come and sit with us? And so I grabbed her tray, brought her over, and then she sat with us for the rest of the week in casting camp. And it was that act of, you know, inclusivity that they were trying to decide, I think, between me and Jessica Simpson, and they were like, let's go with her. Mm-hmm.
So now, the crazy thing is that people don't understand is when the new Mickey Mouse Club started, it was already going on. Like, you guys were, like I said, the new kids. You were later.
Yeah,
you
they
had
were
like
so
Chase,
annoyed by us, the older kids.
Chasen, Hampton.
We had
right?
Chasen. Yeah, we had Chasen, and we also had Rona Bennett.
Rona, yeah,
who is in Vogue.
And also was Mylin? No,
Mylin was not on there. She was gone by then.
Okay.
But I did know Mylin. Yeah.
But they also had like this group.
Yeah.
Right? The party?
Lindsay Alley, Matt Morris.
Matt Morris. We've got to drop Matt Morris.
They were all on the show already. And so there was these 7 new, in their mind, like, children.
Yeah. And that 7 was like you.
Yeah. And me,
Justin, Brittany, Christina,
Ryan, TJ Fantini, and Tate Lynch. Yeah.
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 And that was... You know, because, you know, this is where I kind of come in, because I jump in right after you guys had stopped. And all the stories that I always heard were about you guys and how JC was like in the older group.
Yes.
And Justin was in the younger group. And it was Justin and Ryan were best friends, right? On the show.
Well, Justin and I were best friends.
Well, yeah, you guys too. You guys too.
Would he say that?
Yeah.
He would say that?
Yeah, but Ryan and Justin were really close.
Yeah, they were like buddies.
Super, super close, yeah.
Would you say Ryan is one of your best friends?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You said
that
it?
Was, yeah, that
wow,
was...
that was like, you just cut it off. Like, you don't like Ryan Gosling?
No, I love Ryan Gosling. On the show, yeah, we were all really close because we were coming into this new group that was already established. We knew that they didn't want us there.
Yeah.
Right. They felt threatened.
Well, they felt a little bit like, oh, these are the people that are going to replace us. And
it's like us and the Backstreet Boys.
Right. Exactly. The Backstreet Boys. Yeah. Like, these guys are going to replace us.
Right.
It's like me and
Everyone?
Yes. Yeah. Pauly Shore.
Yeah, Pauly Shore. He's such a dick.
Wait.
Yeah, let's drop. I love Pauly Shore.
So yeah, it was a little like these guys are going to replace us. And so we came in and we kind of had to stick together. We lived in the same apartment complex, all of us. We stayed super connected. And because I was a little bit older in our group of 7, I was kind of a bridge to the older guys. I started dating JC.
Y'all dated for 5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we started dating on the Mickey Mouse Club. And then it was me and Justin and JC. And everywhere
Wait,
we
you
went.
dated Justin too?
No.
Wait, you
All
Justin
It was
three of
and
us
JC?
really
at the
weird.
same
It was
time.
so
It
awkward.
was very progressive.
Brittany
But you
felt
were very-
so left out.
So you dated JC, and then y'all went on to doing Innosense.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind
Yeah.
of down the road a bit. There's
It is
still
down the road a bit. Like I went to
5
LA.
years later? Okay.
I went to LA. I acted for a while.
and you got some
and
great
then
roles when
I
you were out
did.
there.
I did. And the music business came later, but the reason I wanted to do the music business is because I had been with them. I mean, I was in the room when NSYNC signed their record contract.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so I had seen them.
Well, let's just say this real quick.
Yeah.
You just told me something right before we started the show that she's your oldest friend
Yes.
What? Yeah.
So that we've had
that we've
far
had on the shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys known each other for.
because I met.
buddy.
That's right. Wait.
Hi,
wait.
buddy.
Hand
Wait.
hug. Hand
Hand
hug.
hug. Is
Hand
it
hug.
this?
Yeah.
Aw, I
hand
love
hug.
it.
I wish you would touch me the way you touch
the
her
greatest thing. The greatest thing that I always thought about you was how smart and mature you were for your age.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm still like 10 years old. I won't talk about
10,
ages, but
yeah.
I'm like 10 years older than you. And I always thought, man, I could learn a lot from her. Like she's just you were so wise beyond your years. But
thanks,
but what
Chris.
I do remember is when we all first started, you were always there. You
I
know,
was.
and you really were like part of the group. Like you were in
I
it
was the
before
sixth
Lance was
member.
in it. You were around before Lance. Like it was
That's
the
true.
5 of us. You were the
That's
5th
true.
member.
I was the 5th member,
For the
and then
longest,
Lance
we're like,
replaced
Nikki,
me.
can you sing bass?
Big mistake. Big mistake. We
Wish
could
you
have been
could've.
huge.
Yeah, we could have been great. But those years were so crazy because, again, I'd hear all the Mickey Mouse stories. I knew all about everybody. And I actually had a little Mickey Mouse. Well, Joey and I both have a little Mickey Mouse history.
I was gonna say, Joey,
and Joey used to
especially.
go to the shows, the tapings of the Mickey Mouse Club, and be in the audience. And then at the end, when you'd invite people up to dance,
Yeah.
he'd come up and look for the camera and dance on the camera.
I remember that.
That's
and
Joey.
I remember the first time I met him, he was like, we've met. And then he told me, he's like, I used to come to the Mickey Mouse Club
Yeah.
to the tapings all the time. And I was like, oh my God, that's so right.
And I worked.
How big of a studio was
I
that?
worked at the Outback.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the MGM lot. And it was one of the big sound stages on the lot. And we took up the whole thing.
Just a bunch of kids coming in to watch y'all perform.
Yeah.
So it was like a concert every single day.
We did in that last season, we did 3 live shows a week. We
Wow.
did 6-day weeks, and we put on 2. I feel like 1 show on Wednesday and 2 shows on Saturday.
Do you still get recognized from Mickey Mouse Club?
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah, it is incredible.
Yeah. No, that's not incredible because it was so long ago. But yeah, the things that you've done since. Yeah.
Well, some fan conventions, right? You know, there's still a
okay.
contingency of Mickey Mouse Club fans. And so they'll come and I'll think it's Hallmark or I'll think it's awkward. And they're like, no, it's actually Mickey Mouse Club. And I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Hang out with this guy
A lot
for
of
minute.
times it's, do we go to school together? How do I? And if
I
it
look
is
like
Mickey,
everyone's best friend from high school. That is true.
That's how we met.
Stop it.
That's how we met, high school. That was it. No, but every time I go out with him, it's like you would think that people are going to just rush him because he's Chris
Yeah.
Kirkpatrick from NSYNC.
I know.
and
But
nobody does.
My son fangirled the hell out of him because he was on the Fairly Odd Parents, or is that what it was called?
Yeah, it was a cartoon.
A cartoon, and like he's
Yeah.
like, that's him. What
a
was your name on
voice.
that?
Chip Skylark.
Chip Skylark. He freaked
Ding
out.
Chip.
Chip. Yeah.
Skip Sparky Pants.
Or
ding
Big
him.
Brother.
Big Brother. That's right.
We don't talk about Big Brother.
Was it
We don't
terrible?
talk-
How was that experience?
The people there were great.
Okay.
I mean, the cast,
Yeah.
everybody that worked on it, the cast that they had, I became friends with some of them, and they're great. But it was just, I love the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. Could
missed
you?
your
Could
family.
you think you could do that? I don't think.
I was
there's
just
no way.
gonna say, I feel like when I heard that you were doing it, I was like, Chris is gonna have a hard time with this because he's so innately kind and good, that it's going to be really hard for him to...
Shut your mouth. Don't talk to me like that. I'm going to cry.
It's true, though. You are.
No,
I
I'm
mean, yes, you are. And so I was like, it's going to be really hard for him to try and betray someone or go behind someone's back or
play the game.
Play the game because you also,
I think he's just honest.
From day one.
He's honest. So it's like...
From day one. Actually, somebody was just asking
he calls me out of my shit more
about
than anybody.
Justin and, about who are the people in his life that will tell him the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm one of them. I was like, Chris Kirkpatrick. If you want to talk to one person who will give it to him, this is how I feel. This is it's you.
It's not
so
always a popular opinion.
No, but I respect you so much because you've always been that way, and that's never changed about you. So that means that's integrity. It's like your insides match your outsides. And I think it's really hard to find people like that in the world and also in the industry.
But sometimes, too, it kind of gets clouded a little bit because I always felt like that. I always felt like that with you.
Yeah.
I feel like that with very few people in this world, that they're always honest first. But the problem is there becomes this gray area of when you're honest for the sake of helping or you're just honest for the sake of being a dick. And sometimes I've been honest for the sake of being a dick, and that's not fair.
Is after you've had
drinks,
5 cocktails or something.
I don't really drink anymore, so we're good. But let's go back. Let's go back to you again because this is a time where and we're going to get some great names out of this whole era. This is a time where we go on the road. While we are on the road, Justin and Lance were, I don't know if we named Lance yet. Justin and Lance were minors.
Yeah.
We had one of your teachers, correct, out on the road or would come out on the road and they would do school while we were out on the road. Then you had me and Joey who would go out and never sleep and just be constantly partying. And then you had JC, who you two were dating at the time, would never go out, would never do anything. No offense, but I think he missed an opportunity to really enjoy a lot of Europe. But he really, you guys had such a cool friendship, and knowing JC, and we are going to have him on the show, so I'm friends with him enough, I hope.
Has he not done the show yet?
No, not yet.
No,
amazing. That'll be a really fun one.
Yeah, but knowing him, it's crazy because, and I've always kind of wanted to ask this to you, and this is going to be weird, but do you know him?
Do I know him?
Do you know JC?
Yeah.
Because
they dated 5 years.
I was in a band with him for 25 years, and I feel like he has this crazy, mysterious side that his family doesn't know.
You know what your fans call him? They call him the unicorn.
Yeah,
because no one because he rarely ever does any interviews. No one really actually gets to know him like that. So that's what you're saying.
It's an armor.
Yeah.
It's an armor. Like, he went through some hard things.
Yeah, he did.
Growing up and as a kid, and because of that, I think it's hard for him to trust people. It's hard for him to open up. It's hard for him to let people in, because if you let people in, they could potentially hurt you. And so, I feel like I know him. And I think for the longest time, which is why I think that breakup was so hard for both of us, is because I was the only person that really knew
him,
who he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. We'll get off
That's a great
that.
answer.
We don't want to. Yeah. We
It's
don't
not
want to.
weird at all.
We don't want to bring up that stuff. But now, talking about those times.
Yeah.
What's his favorite color?
Mine's the sun.
We're to break up the monotony here. Okay, so we're in LA.
Yeah.
You left the Mickey Mouse Club. You're in LA. You're acting. What was your first big role?
I did. I got on a show called Misery Loves Company. That was a Disney show. It was a multicam comedy that was really fun that I got to do for a while. Then I did movies. I did a movie, my first movie at 15 with Lance Hendrickson and Kay Lenz. It was a Western movie. I was up in Canada for like 3 months, which was, it was really awesome.
Awesome genre. Yeah.
It was really awesome. So I was there working for a while and building a career. And also it was at the time when, because I was thinking about this, it was the 90s. So it was the whole Boy Meets World crew. It was Keenan and Kel. It was it was Melissa, Joan Hart. It was all of those people that were on the TGIF and Disney, and we were constantly all together all the time. So I see those people, you know, when you were talking to Melissa, you were like, do you go to 90s Con? And it's just like a reunion. I had forgotten how many people, TLC, right?
Yeah.
SWV, Expose, all of those groups, all of those people during that time when we just circled each other's orbits a lot. We did press together. And then I was actually testing for like a Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet that Claire Danes obviously did.
You test for the same for
with
Juliet?
Natalie Portman.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was in that circle of girls that we were going for, like Lolita, Romeo and Juliet, a lot of those like really big movies that came out during that time. But I was so lonely. I was actually living with Kelly, Joey's ex-wife.
Oh,
I was
Kelly,
living with Kelly because I wasn't old enough to have, I was 17. And I wasn't old enough to have my own place.
This was in L.A.?
This was in L.A. Remember when she moved to L.A.? She worked at the Nike store.
Yep.
She was living out here for a while.
Mind you, you've been on your own since you're 12.
I've been on my own for a while, but my grandmother, you know, would kind of come out, get me situated. She would go back to Georgia. I would kind of do my thing. But this was my first, like, apartment.
Is this where you developed a drinking problem, smoked a lot of cigarettes?
100. I'm still trying to shake it.
Shaking it off.
Because that's your M.O. Everybody
like
knows.
12.
Oh, here comes Nikki. Break out the tequila and whiskey.
Grandma set me up. She's gone now. Light them up.
That's how I coped.
Yeah.
But so I lived with Kelly, and then I traveled back and forth constantly to Orlando.
Yeah.
And I lived with the boys, and then I would do my tutoring with Chuck whenever I was there. And that was Justin and mine and Lance's teacher. And Chuck went all the way back to Mickey Mouse Club. That's how we knew Chuck. And so I would come in once a month. I'd do all my schooling. I'd see the boys. I'd see JC.
How
I'd
did
go
you
back.
avoid like all the temptations that were? You've been in the industry since you were a child.
I didn't get into anything until the music business. Like I didn't even have my first sip of alcohol until I was like late 19.
Which is unheard of.
Late 19, not 2019.
Yeah. I didn't like, you know, let loose and explore until the music industry.
That's our fault.
That
Was it instant? Was it?
Is that totally
Is it
our
him?
fault?
It was the
Chris
girls.
Kirkpatrick?
It was the girls, you know, because
Yeah.
they had like I went the first time we went to Germany. I don't know if you remember when Innosense was there for like 3 months. Like we were just dropped off in the middle of nowhere in Germany. And
Well, that's a big name drop, and this is really
Innocence.
something that, you know, we will talk about a little bit because I
Totally.
know it's like you've got all this other stuff with you, but the Innocence thing was like this project. You were acting, you were
Yeah.
doing all these stuff, and didn't you do something with Chuck Norris? Big
I
name
did.
drop.
Oh gosh, Chuck Norris.
One of the biggest name drops.
Yeah, that's-
I actually, at 17, I got cast to play. It was the big 2-episode finale of Texas Ranger, Walker, Texas Ranger. And I was pregnant. I was supposed to be older than I was.
Was it Chuck's?
It was, yes, it was. Listen, I'm going to tell it here. I'm going to reveal it
It's
here
not Ryan's.
on the
It was
Name Drop
Justin's.
podcast.
On the podcast, Chuck Norris is the father of your first child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this
Yeah.
is amazing.
His name is Haya.
So I gave birth on camera. I didn't know what.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that was really
Yes.
awkward.
I gave
No, I'm
birth
kidding.
on camera at 17 on Walker, Texas Ranger. I still get residual checks from that.
Wait, does your child get the same?
Yeah, exactly. My child.
It was a basketball.
Yeah, I was working a ton.
I know, I was trying to be fun.
But I was so lonely. And so when Lynn called, that's Justin's mom.
Yep.
And said, hey.
Wait,
This is pretty good already. This is
She goes,
great.
Justin Timberlake's mom.
Yeah,
And
okay.
she goes, listen, I'm thinking about putting together a girl band just like NSYNC. And I'm thinking it's you and Brittany and I don't know, we'll find the other 3. But you interested? And I was like, yeah. yes, this would be amazing. Are you kidding? This would be great.
I have never heard a better impression of Miss Lynn in my entire.
That's what she sounds like.
I could have closed my eyes right there, and I would be like, "Oh, we've got Miss Lynn on. Hey, sorry,
she is like a second.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
you've got another talent I had no idea about.
She's
That's
been
cool.
bossing me around since I was 12, and so so I thought, oh gosh. If I could go and have friends and people my age and do that like the boys, right? I wanted to do what they were doing and have what they had, which was so special. Like,
but at the time, it was just Europe, though, too, and it was still kind of.
But it was still so special, the way that you guys were together and you were doing this thing and building this thing together, and I was just alone.
You wanted that camaraderie.
I did, and the closest stars that I had, like I was in a movie I did, Traveler. Mark Wahlberg played my boyfriend with Bill Paxton in it. Mark was 10 years older than me, so I'm on screen kissing a guy, you know, at 16 years old, that I don't think he's quite 10, maybe 8, but he was like substantially older than me, you know, so doing these movies, and I'm just like, you feel very isolated.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. So I go to my attorney at the time, Carl Austin, and you can ding. He's a pretty big entertainment attorney, but now my attorney is Ryan Goodell.
Oh, this guy's supposed to be pretty good, I hear.
He's pretty good.
Are we talking about Take Fives, Ryan Goodell?
We're talking about Take Fives, Ryan Goodell.
Okay.
So Carl says to me, he gives me Lou's contract, Lou Pearlman's contract, and he says, if you sign this, you will be committing career and financial suicide. And I was like, sign me up.
The boys did it. I should do it too.
Totally.
So once you signed your life away, you moved to Orlando and lived with Lynn.
My dad drove out, and I went back to the East Coast. I moved in with Lynn in their house in Millington, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Brittany was supposed to be in the group, but the day she was supposed to land in Millington, Lynn got a call from Lynn Spears saying that Brittany had gotten an offer to go do her own thing. So we had come together. We had taken.
Were you
pictures,
bummed about that? Were you like, oh man, this was like a thing?
Yeah, because we had come together. There were 5 of us. We did pictures. You know, we had this little thing. But what happened was Larry Rudolph at the time,
Yeah.
and Lou knew each other really well.
So Larry Rudolph is her man, Brittany's manager.
Well,
became Brittany's manager.
So Lou and Larry knew each other really well. Larry had said to Lou, if you run into a 15-year-old Debbie Gibson that can dance, Jive Records is looking for that.
By the way, Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie. And so Lou called Larry, and as soon as we arrived in Orlando and he saw Brittany, he was
swooped her up.
I got your 15-year-old Debbie Gibson, swooped her up. So by the time we landed in Millington to start rehearsals and record and do these things, Brittany didn't show up.
Gone.
Yeah,
Have you talked to her since?
Oh yeah, for years. We
Yeah.
went on tour with her we went between the Britney and NSYNC tour for like 2 years. And we were very close for a really long time until
Always a sweetheart.
the sweetest. So unassuming. What's happened to her is deeply, deeply, deeply heartbreaking because if you knew her before, all she really wanted to do, she wanted a normal life and she wanted to perform. That's it.
Do you think it's the people around her?
Yes, I think that's a big
100%,
part of it. I think also there's something that's not normal about becoming that famous at so young.
Right.
Justin was really protected because he had you guys. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Y'all were together. You were a unit. You were a family.
Well, you said
she was on her own.
You said it best when you were around with us. You went off and started doing your stuff, but you felt lonely. There was something there.
There's such isolation.
Like when it was the 5 of us, and it's funny because I'll name drop a little one here, but when I was out on tour or out in Orlando, this kid was coming to Orlando, and he was a friend of mine, was managing him. He's like, you got to go talk to him. Like, he had this show. He didn't do so good. He's a little stressed. So I walk in. It was Justin Bieber, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was strange to talk to him because I was like, it's difficult for me to relay to you what's going on because you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Like all the pressure is on you.
And you had your brothers.
With us, I always blame Joey It was easy.
Everybody blames
it. was just like,
First of all,
that happened.
always Joey's fault.
Joey
Yes.
did that.
I had to follow Britney around back when Oops, I Did It Again came out. And she was like the height of her fame. And she was 18 years old. It was Mother's Day weekend. And we were at Saturday Night Live. And when she was on camera, she was this different person. But when she was off camera, we were trying to get that. We were doing behind the scenes MTV kind of stuff.
Yes.
And finally, Sonia, who was her
Sonia.
rep, she
Sonia Muck.
she left the room, and then all of a sudden I saw Brittany and just go, oh my God. You have any chocolate?
That's
like,
her.
Yeah.
That's her.
And I'm like, yeah. And we started bullshitting. But I started thinking about that. Like over the years, I'm going, this poor girl hasn't had a moment by herself.
Not one.
No one.
And so anytime we were together, it was, I want to get yogurt. I just want to go see a movie.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to hang out and eat popcorn? It was just she craved normalcy. And, a lot of it too was she came from a family that had a lot. I mean, her dad, this is not a secret. He was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
He was not very nice. And the mom and Brittany, there was an escape that they needed to do from him. And Mickey Mouse Club was a big part of that. And as long as Brittany kept working and as long as Brittany kept out there making that money, they got to just be away. And they didn't have to deal with what was happening at home. Yeah. And so, when people like now that we're in such a time where, not to get into it, but let's get into it maybe a little bit, people are coming for Justin, for the book and for the breakup and for this and that. And I'm like, you guys, it is so much more deep and complicated than that. Yeah. Like you think Justin
we were
was
all
responsible
kids.
for this?
And do you feel like like I do when it's just like you're watching this whole thing go down and we know,
I know
real
the
stories
truth.
and we know truths and it's like you want to say something but you can't. I mean, it's just
But you can. I do believe you can. I do believe that there is, a way to say, like, Justin didn't ruin her life. Justin didn't do this to her. They were kids. Yep. They were kids that both were trying to survive an industry that is brutal. And there are amazing things that come from it, but it is hard. But they were kids. Their frontal cortex wasn't even fully formed when they were in a relationship.
You think about when you're that age and have your life chronicalized, like every move, every step that you make.
For sure.
Oh my God.
But
I would have been canceled 30 years ago.
But you did it. But you had a great family. You had a great base around you, and that's why.
And a lot of failure.
Yeah.
I failed a lot. Yeah. There was a lot of things that didn't go my way, which is such a gift. It really, when you fail a lot, you learn so much. You do not learn in winning and in achieving and in succeeding. You learn in the moments when you were rejected, when the music industry, like RCA dropped us because Lou went to prison. Yeah. And they were like, we're not touching any of that, any of his groups. So
we're talking about Lou Rawls?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you feel like, again, we're going back to the people because I mean, look at Michael Jackson. Look at some of these people that have been in the business their whole lives, and there are other people, the Nikki DeLoaches, the Justin Timberlakes, the people who seem to come out okay and aren't these, really hurt deep inside people. Yes. They have people around them like me and you that say, Justin, that's stupid.
Totally.
I mean, I think that's weird, but it's it's stupid. And we saw it when we worked with Michael, and it always makes me go back to this and think about it, is the people around him, anything Michael would do, hey, I'm going to fart on this CD and I think it's going to be cool. Oh my God, Michael, that's genius.
Totally.
That is genius. And when you have that around, you don't get that failure. You don't get that, well, I'm just going to throw everything up and it's going to work.
People don't let you fail. They don't let you fail. They don't let you feel. Because they're so concerned with keeping that machine going because so many people are benefiting financially from it. So they need you to keep going. They don't want you to feel the sadness, the weight of so even in that moment, it's like, no, don't listen to them. Don't, keep going because they need you to keep going. But then when you have people around you that have no skin in the game, or you're in it together, like in your situation, then it's like when people tell you the truth, it's a really important thing. And Brittany did not have that. They just needed her to keep going. They propped her up, they pushed her forward, and that poor child just had to keep going until she couldn't anymore, until she broke.
Think about the breakdown that she had to.
That's right.
There's also that fear of saying no. Because if you're working for somebody and you're like, you know what, this isn't a great idea. I think you shouldn't do this. Well, then you can leave.
Yeah, totally.
You know, there's like I don't have that problem. I'm not worried if I tell Justin no, he's going to be like, well, don't come over to my house tomorrow.
I don't either.
You know, don't come see my family tomorrow.
It's like,
I'll see you on Friday.
I'll see you.
You know,
I'll see you tomorrow at 4.
And we've had those times. We actually had one last year, you know, where it was like back when, let's say, a little alcohol was involved and me and him, you know, got into it a little bit. And the next day he texted me, he's like, dude, what the hell? And I was like, well, you should have shut up when you shut up because you get me going.
So much.
You get me going, and I'm not going to, you know, I take things too far.
You're so important
a lot of times. But
you really are.
But, well, I think there's a lot of people that are important. I think you're important. And I love the fact that you guys are close again.
Yeah.
You know, like that's really, every time we're out and I see you and I see your family. Now we have families. Yeah. And now the kids. We actually went to a baseball game together.
Wait, which Nash's game? Or just
No, Mets game.
Mets game? Oh, you guys went to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was I?
We were in Jerry Seinfeld's suite.
Yeah, there you go. And our kids just got, it was like, it's something that's really cool actually. Your kids, Justin's kids, my kids, it's like they almost understand that their parents have known each other forever, so that feels like something really safe, and they just instantly connected, and it doesn't matter how much time has gone by since they've seen each other, they just like kind of get right into that pocket. It's really fun.
I think your story is so admirable, and I think like all the philanthropic stuff that you do is pretty rad.
That's where she came from. That's in her.
You got a heart.
Always been in her.
And I think one of the things that you're with LA Children's Hospital.
Yeah, so Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I know. I'm the president of the Foundation Board of Trustees for the hospital.
Sounds big time.
It's crazy, actually. I look at when I look at anything I've done, this job specifically feels the biggest because I when they asked me to take over the board, I was like, you understand, I've only been in the entertainment business since I was like 7 years old. I barely know how to work my phone. I can't do spreadsheets. I don't know how to.
And you're like, I
can't
kids.
even read.
I can barely like function.
I can only read scripts.
Yeah, exactly. I can write scripts. Right. I can make movies, but I can't.
So you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
Well, we're in charge. So the great thing about Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, and I'll just try to truncate this. My youngest kid, Bennett, 6, he was born, he is a rock star.
Little Benny?
Little Benny.
Yeah.
He was born, or we found out when I was pregnant with him that he had multiple heart defects, and without immediate intervention, he wasn't going to survive. And they were very, very serious heart defects. And Children's Hospital of Los Angeles just happens to have one of the best pediatric heart surgeons in not just the country, in the world. And he saved my son's life. 5 days old, he had his first heart surgery.
Praise God.
They fixed 4 congenital heart defects in his heart. And he's now a case study. So if any other doctor in the country comes across a heart that looks like Benny's, they will know how to fix that kid's heart. And so I was roaming the halls. We were there for a month in that first surgery, and looking inside the rooms and seeing these little babies, and they didn't have their moms and dads in there. And I said to the nurses, where are their parents? Because I hadn't left the hospital, right? And they were like, oh, well, we service some of, the poorest people in Los Angeles. 2/3 of our families are on Medi-Cal, and their parents have to work sometimes 3 and 4 jobs just to be able to make ends meet, and their bosses don't allow them to get off, to come and be with their children. And that just broke me. And then I was like, well, how can they afford to get surgeries? And they were like, we raise the money. That's what the Board of Trustees is for. We raise the money so that no kid is turned away. So Children's Hospital of Los Angeles is a safety net hospital. Regardless of insurance or financial status, you can come to our hospital and you're going to get the same care that my son gets. And when I heard that, there's something that like broke inside of me. And I was like, I want this to be my life's work. Because a parent should never have to choose between getting the best care for their child and going broke. That's insane that we even live in a world where that's possible.
I think it's incredible that you had something happen to your son. You like to give back. It's almost like tithing, in a way where
I do.
Your son was saved, and you got your precious Benny with you.
Yeah.
And you continue that with the Children's Hospital, and I think that's pretty incredible. And you had Justin come in and perform for you.
Yeah, and I have to just brag on my friend.
$5 million.
121-year history of the hospital, and he raised more money in that night than any other artist, because we always have somebody that comes and performs. That night was the most successful of any gala we've ever had in the 20.
Was it 5.5?
It was 5.5. Well, actually, it ended up being, I think, around 6 million.
Good.
Well, how strange is it?
And he killed it. He didn't just do, most artists come in and they do like 3 songs, maybe 4. He did 45 minutes on that stage. Our nurses were like, they bum rushed that stage.
Right.
It was incredible. He didn't just come and perform. He came and he gave everyone the time of their life.
This is the crazy part too. This is back 20 years ago. Would you have ever thought that there would be something in your life, like a kid or anything like that, a lot of people, I know I didn't understand back in the day, until you have a child. Mine's only 6 years old. 8 years ago, I had no idea.
No idea.
I had no comprehension of what it was like to be a parent.
Totally.
And I'm an old parent, so I've had you guys, I've had Justin, I've had all these friends that have had kids. Joey had kids back in the day. So
that's right. He was first, I think.
Yeah, you hear about all this stuff, but until you have a child, until you see that, everybody says it's life-changing, but this is beyond life-changing. Like this shaped the path of where you were going. Like you had your life planned out. You had all these roles you were doing, because you've been doing a lot of great stuff lately with the Hallmark stuff and still.
Well, I would say even before that, I was on Awkward. And
MTV's Awkward?
MTV's Awkward.
There we go.
And we had a great run, People's Choice Award-winning show, critical darling in the industry. And I was like, oh, finally I have built this platform from which I can, get that next thing. When that show ended, and then I got pregnant with Bennett, and it all stopped. And it stopped because it was a complicated pregnancy. It stopped because for 2 years we went through multiple heart surgeries, and my only job was keep this child alive. And it took me a long time to then deal with my own grief and heartache around the fact that I worked my whole life to finally get on an Awkward. And then it just went boop. And not that I would do anything different. I wouldn't make any other choice. I would make that choice again and again and again and again. But I look back and I go, oh man, that was hard within itself. But then career-wise, it was a little creative wound that I had inside of that. And also, it did lead me to Hallmark. It took me down this totally opposite path.
How many movies you done now? 14, 18, 30?
I think like 20.
Something
like that.
You cast a spell on me. What was that? Was that Hallmark?
That was bought by Hallmark. Actually, it was Hallmark ended up buying that, but that was an independent film that was released that Hallmark bought. It was an acquisition. But the thing about Bennett the thing it broke inside of me that I think was really important is it helped me to understand that this is not my life.
Yeah.
Like working in TV or film or like whatever, like this isn't my life. It's a job. My life is
your family.
My family and the work I get to do at Children's Hospital, the work I get to do for Alzheimer's with Mind What Matters and the Alzheimer's Association. That's my life. That's the thing that gets me up in the morning.
It's a testament of who you are as a person to get people like Chris Kirkpatrick, get people like Justin to come in to help you out. It's a testament to who you are. And they chose the right person to be that ambassador at Children's Hospital. So that's pretty rad.
But it also comes down to the fact that, like you're saying, you looked at your career as your life.
I did.
Your career was your life. And then when you realize when you have a family, you realize your family is your life. your career is the fun. Your career is the icing.
And by the way, we have an awesome job.
Yeah,
Our job is awesome. I'm not. It's the best job. It's so fun.
Where do you find the time?
Is acting like your thing now? Is acting? Like...
I'm a full-time writer now, which is so great. I've been writing.
Wait, who's your writing partner?
My writing partner is Megan McNulty, and we've been writing together for about 7 years. So that a full-time job. I still act, I produce, and then I just finished a directing program. So that's next is to
direct.
Yeah,
look at you,
which will be great.
Are you bragging?
Ding for that.
Huh?
Are you bragging? It's name drop. You don't have to brag about what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, I just am really excited.
Who would you like to work with as a director?
Oh gosh, well, yeah, right. I think I was. I haven't gotten to that place yet of like trying to be like, who would I like to work with? I think my overall idea of wanting to direct is, I acted and was like, oh, I want more. And then I started producing, and then, oh, I want a little bit more. And then I started writing, and then you'd hand your scripts over to people. And sometimes they were executed beautifully, and sometimes they were executed not beautifully. And so I was like, ugh, now I got to go learn how to direct so then I could take that idea and then I can see that all the way through to the very end. And that's what I'm.
Are you writing stuff based on your life or life experiences? Or
some of it, yeah. Okay. Everything is always based on like whatever you know or learn. But like right now, Megan and I are working on a Christmas movie that we're writing for Hallmark.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Those are always fun. Like when the Christmas movies come out, I always remember going, wow, this is so cool, this new Christmas movie. And then I'm thinking, they probably filmed that in June.
Dude, they make socks.
Or July. They make fake
Hallmark socks.
We have Hallmark socks.
Hallmark socks.
Don't bother me. I'm watching.
Hallmark.
Or yeah.
I mean, that's it's like such a, like my sister and her girlfriends and
it's
my
huge.
wife.
You guys, the Hallmark
Chris and
channel,
I do that.
People don't realize it because, it's in the entertainment business, but it's really not. It's this little niche area that has been carved out, and it gets the highest ratings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
From September through December, there is nothing except for sports that gets higher ratings than the Hallmark Channel, and that's Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
I feel like if you're a depressed person, you should watch the Hallmark Channel 24/7.
For sure. It has a happy ending.
It's like Christmas every single day.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Sure.
I wanted to talk to you about your dad.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty awesome what you're doing for Alzheimer's. Thank
you. Yeah, my dad, it's such a... my dad...
Who say his name again?
David DeLoach. He was my North Star. Any compassion and goodness I have inside of me was because I was raised by my dad. And he got diagnosed actually at 62, but his dementia, which was a very rare and aggressive dementia called Pick's disease, it's a frontal temporal dementia, which shows up in a very different way than like you would think of just normal Alzheimer's, which is a long journey. It really started in his late 50s, and by 66 we lost him, and that was in July of 2021.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it was awful. I mean, to watch your parent, and again, I would not make any other choice. I would do it the exact same way. I wanted to be there at the very end, and I was actually it was pandemic. We had gone to Georgia to be there. I had to go up to Connecticut to film a Hallmark movie, but it was one that Megan and I wrote, we produced, we were both in it. I was trying to back out of it. I couldn't. So I went up there to do that movie, and before I left, I said to my dad, who had not spoken for a really long time, but that's the thing about Alzheimer's is we always think that like they're gone. They're just not gone. Mm-hmm. They're just not there. And as an advocate, I say to people, they are there. Their soul knows
they just
who
can't
you
communicate.
are. They just the mechanism from which you usually communicate is just not functioning anymore. But the soul, the heart, it knows they know who you are.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is probably one of the worst possible diseases out there?
It is.
Because you're still living with that person. And they want to talk, they want to communicate with you, and you're talking. Because my grandma was the same way. And I remember when she passed, before she passed, I went to her house, and she was telling me all about her grandson that was in the band and showing me him on the posters and all this. And she's like, I think he's out there, you know, and you're talking with someone that, has been your mentor, has been the person that you're stable with. I mean,
Yeah.
look at what Justin's going through with
his dad.
Paul
Isn't
and everything.
that so? Justin and I have had such parallel lives, except for the fact that he's a megastar and I am not.
We're talking to Justin.
Except for the fact that he's married to Jess. That's the only time.
Wait,
that you
Jess,
guys-
Give it up for Jesse Biel. But personally, like where we're from in the world, our parents, what we've gone through, we've had a lot of similar things happen in our lives, including our dad's getting diagnosed. At his dad having regular Alzheimer's but just very early.
And
But our
very
dad's-
quickly, like
and
it happens.
It happens so quickly, but our dad's got the disease right around the exact same time. And Paul is 2 years younger than my dad. Paul, yeah, I know. And it is so sad because it's painful to be with them because you know that they're living in a prison. But my work in this space, I feel, is to talk to families and teach them about how to connect with their loved one and to understand that, like, they are not gone. They are not gone. You just have to learn how to communicate with them in a very different way. And I think that's hard for people especially when the mind starts to really go and then they don't know who you are.
And I mean, just like the Children's Hospital, you're doing a lot of stuff with Alzheimer's.
A lot of stuff. So I am the president of Mind What Matters. Thank you. And what we do with Mind What Matters is we give grants to caregivers who take care of loved ones with Alzheimer's and dementia, because the problem is we're staring down the barrel of the boomers, right? And our numbers in Alzheimer's and dementia are about to triple. And that means the caregivers, there's not enough places for them to go, and nobody is trained on how to take care of people with Alzheimer's and dementia. So what we do at Mind What Matters is we are advocates about how to take care of loved ones. We try to educate, and then we also literally give money to caregivers so that who have quit their jobs, who have dropped out of school.
So they can live and
so that
still
they
do this.
can
No one
as a
sees
job.
that side ever.
Nobody talks about it. Nobody sees it. So that they can maybe hire someone for a week so they can go to the doctor, so they can get their hair done, so that they can take a vacation with their kids, so that they can do these things, because it is a grind. It is day in and day out. And if you don't have the money to find a place, and even when you do find the Cadillac of places, 9 times out of 10, they ain't great. So it is such a hard disease. It is such a hard thing how to know how to maneuver it. So Mind What Matters does that. And then I work as a spokesperson for the Alzheimer's Association. And then my friend Ashley Williams, she is Kimberly Williams Paisley's sister, who is Brad Paisley's wife. Ashley Williams and I are best friends. We also work on Hallmark a lot, but we met in our 20s, and we were in the same acting program together. And we do a lot of work together, including the Dance to End Alls, which is
in
what
Nashville.
Chris came and was a part of one year. So we put that on. I took over for Kimberly. So now it's mine and Ashley's, and we put that on every year. It's a giant dance party. We raise money to fund grants that do research for Alzheimer's, and we are focused on prevention. Yeah. So that's what I do.
Can you? Do you? I mean, I can't dance. Is it something I can be
You
a part
can't
of?
sing either, which is amazing.
That is-
to
Actually,
me.
it is. Do you live in LA or Nashville?
I'm all over the place, but Nashville mostly.
So this year we're doing the dance. I'm inviting both of you now. We're doing the dance in Los Angeles this year.
I'm in.
Which means you would have to come out here. But I'm inviting both of you to come and please be a part of it and be celebrities in it, because we're just starting to put together the whole thing now. I was going to reach out to you.
Can we do an Innocent song?
You can. I will
Come
not.
on, me and you.
What
That'd
was
be
the song
so
called?
much
Beep
fun.
Beep?
It'd be so
Beep
much
Beep,
fun.
yeah.
Beep beep. I remember that. Yeah.
I'll be your backup dancer. How's that?
That's what I was. So you're gonna have to fight me for it.
That's not.
So we do the
True.
sing at the end of our shows. And do you have any movies coming out now?
I do have a movie coming out now.
Let's talk about that real quick, and then we're gonna.
Sure,
we're
and then
gonna
we'll
sing.
bypass that.
Yeah.
No.
We will not be singing. It's called Curious Cater. So I do this mystery franchise on Hallmark Mystery. called Curious Caterer.
Ooh, the dark side of Hallmark.
Do you play a bad person?
No, I play a good person. I'm a caterer that also loves to solve crimes. So
It's like Scooby-Doo?
Yeah,
It's a movie? It's a movie now?
They call it Cozy Mysteries.
Okay.
And it's a movie, but it's the 4th installment. So we've done 3. This is the 4th one. And this one was so fun because we filmed in an actual castle on Vancouver Island.
Oh,
And
wow.
there was this medieval theme to it. And there's a lot of romance. And for people who are in the Hallmark world,
This is like rated PG though, right? Romance.
yeah.
How does the hubby feel when you're on screen making out
Do you
with
get to
some
make-
He doesn't
rando?
care anymore.
Is he cool about it?
He does.
He's like,
not
she's
care.
a horrible kisser. This is miserable.
He's like, cha-ching.
Are you guys allowed to
cashing that
use?
check.
Do you guys like full on kiss when you do these, or is it more of like the movie kiss?
It's a movie kiss, yeah,
Okay.
for Hallmark. There's nothing ever too aggressive.
A lot of
in
people wanted
any
to know that.
direction.
Yeah.
Because the audience just doesn't want to be shocked
Yeah.
in any
Yeah.
way. They just want to be able to go home. It's kind of like reality television is for me. I love reality television. I don't
Me too.
I turn my TV on right when I crawl in bed at the end of the day.
Your
and it is
go-to?
right to Housewives.
Okay.
Or
Oh,
to
not that,
Below
no.
Deck or Southern Charm or Southern Hospitality. Like name them. I love
Yeah.
reality television. And I just watch it and I like check out
Mm-hmm.
and,
Yeah.
go to sleep. So Hallmark is that for people. They don't want anything bad to happen. They just want to know everything's going to be okay. The crime is going to be solved. The murder's going to be solved. Everybody's going to get out okay. And
So you
that's
just gave
what it
away
is.
the ending.
Yeah, but hold on
They
though.
know.
Hallmark. Let's give Hallmark a little more credit than reality TV because
Oh, well, a lot more
reality
credit, yes.
television is you can put it on and check out because at the end of the day, when you wake up the next morning, whoever the Bachelor picked or
Right,
whoever got
totally,
kicked off of
totally.
Big Brother
Yes.
is not going to change your world. Hallmark
For
actually
sure.
has stuff where you're like, oh man, I should notice this person a little more because I don't know what their life is like, and
Right.
things like that. So there's a little
there's
more
stories. There's like
right.
our stories always have, they always said it's the network of love. I think it's the network of hope because, it's bigger than love. It's like
Yeah.
we want to all believe that we're going to get a happy ending. We all want to believe that everything's going to be okay.
Unless you're in a
the
massage.
end. Right. Yes.
then it's
Yeah.
completely different.
Unless that's what you're into.
What does that mean though?
Like
doesn't
to each
matter.
his own. So Hallmark is different than that. What I mean is it's the psychology of being able to come home and know that
No, they're going to have a beginning, a middle, and a great ending.
and a great ending, and you're not gonna be you're not gonna go to sleep with nightmares and and your heart
Which is
racing.
ironic that I fall asleep to forensic files and things like that. So I have nightmares all the time.
Well, that sounds like a personal
Yeah.
problem.
Oh,
Nikki
you know me. It's
DeLoach. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure
you're
to
so
have you in here.
kind.
Yeah, I would just say writer, actress, singer, dancer,
wife, mother, entrepreneur.
philanthropist. What the hell don't you do?
Math.
You name dropped like no other.
I
mean,
just,
you got
I just
one
had,
flaw
I
as
just
math?
had to pause myself
What,
for that one.
I think everyone in the
Sorry.
entertainment business is like that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. We do this thing at the end of every show.
Okay.
It's basically just Chris has been trying to teach me to sing. He hasn't. I'm a
You
terrible
can't teach
singer.
someone to sing if they can't sing.
I can't sing. But we just do this thing, just a little jingle. It's just a name drop.
We just go, name.
Oh, wow. That was
tone.
terrible.
That tone you just did.
Horrible.
Yeah, you go ahead. What tone do you want to sing? Name drop.
Name drop.
Oh, come
Ready?
on. Can we go
1,
low?
2, 3. Name drop. Yeah, you harmonized accidentally.
Oh, my God.
That's a first.
Oh, my God.
That's a first. He harmonized accidentally.
That was
He
that
was
so
trying to sing it
accidental.
right. And he sang the harmony.
Oh, my God.
You just needed the right timing.
See, we have
needed-
have someone on Hallmark, and we have a Christmas miracle.
We have a happy ending.
A happy ending with Nikki DeLoach.
Yeah, thank you
guys
so
for
much for
having
being here.
me.
You're the
Love you,
best.
Chris.
Love you.
You were awesome.
Aw, thanks, guys.
Wow.
Thanks for having me.
Name drop.